Wagwan, 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 my people. Something a little different today. Obviously Lowski done what he done, and he's at Her Majesty or His Majesty now's pleasure, doing 7 years. I think it's mad. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's did he get? I thought he got 14, and maybe he'll do 7. And I'm just seeing this about LD67. He's only he can't have been out. It's more than 7, 8 months, a year. How long's he been out for? He ain't been out that long. So, and I said when I was reacting to Lowski's tune, I can't understand, and I'm not supposed to understand what these guys are doing, yeah, because it's different. One, when you're involved, and it's also different when people are getting hurt around you, and friends and relatives, whatever, getting hurt, and even worse than that, are losing their lives. So, as much as it's easy for me as an old ass man to say, what are these kids doing? I can't. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand it, and I'm not supposed to understand it because I'm not involved in it. However, I need to have a look into this and check this out. So big up Real Drillas Media. I'm going to react to this and take in the news at the same time, because it's something, when I watched him come out, it looked like he was destined for one thing: make more music and change things around and make more P. And I don't even know how this story can be real. So let's check it out anyway.
So it seems like when LD was first released, roughly a year ago,
Remember this?
and he told his mum that he read the Bible, it seems like he didn't take the message in, because now LD from 6'7", Mental K, Bamz from GID are looking at the worst possible case sentence after being charged with
Is that who I think it is?
conspiracy to commit an M at the Oval Space nightclub, which was dubbed the Notting Hill Carnival After Party. Now this party was attended by literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and these people are potential witnesses. According to reports, LD, Mental K and Bamz, along with Chris Cabba, were part of a 5-man gang that went to the carnival after party in East London in the early hours of August 30th. Now,
what a pussy clot. Yo, it kinda was who I thought it was. So they went to a carnival after party. I know that. I'm glad I don't go to after parties no more, saying that. I can't have with the youth, you know what I mean? No after parties, but yo, this is a madness. So they're facing life on conspiracy to commit a M, which means I don't believe they're gonna get that. I don't know if that sentence is something that is handed out for conspiracy to commit an M. I appreciate that it's sometimes people talk about the maximum sentence for the crime, yeah, and as in it's been handed out for that crime before, but it might not be handed out on this occasion. The worrying thing is obviously what he's been inside numerous times by the sounds of things, and what he's been inside for before. It depends. If it was narcotics, it's different. If it's violence, then it's going to be taken into account. So
the witnesses. According to reports, LD, Mental K and Bamz, along with Chris Cabba, were part of a 5-man gang that went to the carnival after party in East London in the early hours of August 30th. Now, someone in that gang snuck in a pistol and had plans of ending the life of a rival, a 23-year-old. The Met say that the incident had been well planned, and all of them are guilty. And
that's wild. One, the incident being well planned, because I've heard of stuff like this happening before, but that means you have to get that. I don't want to talk too much, but you have to get your weapon in past security. So if they're talking about being planned in the sense that someone else knew and said, yeah, you guys, walk around the metal detector, as Fat Joe would say. That's a mad thing. Like, you plan to catch a man in a dance. One thing I remember growing up, though, actually, is that the real bad man that I knew, yeah, the real gangsters that I knew, they were like, I'm not going to no dance. Not going to no, they wouldn't go to dances, fam. Because maybe they were paranoid, or maybe it was really that on top for them, but they weren't going to no dances. And I've seen this kind of thing happen before in dances. So the people, yeah, certain people I knew, just like, they were like, and the way they played it as well, like, dances are for pussy, or when they going to no club. That's what they used to say. That's what they used to say, because you're in their eyes, in this situation, you're kind of a sitting duck. There's loud music, there's bare people around. You're not gonna see it coming. Boom, you're on the dance floor, whap. But on the other hand, to do something like this, and I'm gonna call it allegedly because I don't know the full story. To do something like this is fucking tapped. Seriously, because unless you're like a trained assassin, and I've been in clubs where people have let off before, and there weren't no trained brothers letting off. I was in Twice as Nice one time, and there were people. It's carnage, yeah. One you might miss, and it's a bag of strays, and there's hundreds of people in there, so it could hit anyone. That's why it's mad. And two, you're gonna cause a stampede. I've been in a dance. Luckily, I was with a DJ, so we just we stayed in there, which was mad in itself. But in reality, it was kind of the safest thing to do. We stayed in there and just ducked down behind the in the DJ booth. But the rest of the club, it was. I can just imagine the carnage, people running up the stairs. You know how it is. You know how it is if you go carnival or something like that. At least you're in an open space. If something happens, everyone disperses. But in a club, people are going to get trampled and say it's a mad thing. It might have been well planned, but I don't know.
Someone in that gang snuck in a pistol and had plans of ending the life of a rival, a 23-year-old. The Met say that the incident had been well planned, and all of them are guilty, and Chris Cabell was also involved. The crazy thing about it is, after the Chris Cabell incident, his name was not mentioned, but for some reason, the prosecution are mentioning his name now. The 23-year-old victim had been targeted on the dance floor. The victim then ran out of Oval Space nightclub, Cambridge Heath, before being hit twice in the legs. Now reports say that the victim was a rival, so it's not known yet if the rival and the security guard are the same people or if they are two different people and two people were hit in the.
Gotcha. Rival and security guard. This is saying that they're all guilty. I don't know whether that means they've all pled guilty or whether they've all been charged. I'm just hearing about this now for the first time. I haven't checked it out, so I don't know the full details. So either they've pled guilty or they've been found guilty and they're waiting to be charged. Because if... I know it's mad, yeah? I know it's mad. But if they haven't pled guilty, apparently one person had the gun and you know who they're going to blame that on. I don't even want to say it, but think about it. Bag of man in your crew, one of them can't speak for himself, let's put it like that. The easiest thing to do is to say the guy that can't speak for himself done the dirty. I don't know if that will happen. Or I don't know whether they've already pled guilty and they're guilty as charged and they're waiting for sentencing. This is crazy. Because they hit whoever it was, they hit him twice. I don't know. I don't know. If you hit someone in the leg, you can say that that's what you plan to do. You get what I'm saying? So this conspiracy to commit murder charge, I don't know. I can't understand it. I actually, if I'm honest, can't believe it, because you've got a guy that's in a position to change his life around and his family's life around. But again, I don't know them. Do you know what I mean? It's easy for me to say that, but when you're in that and you're living that life, people have passed, and listen, I've stopped judging, if you know what I'm saying. I've stopped. I used to judge, because that's what old people do, innit? Fucking judge the youth there, wickedly, but it's difficult. It's all wrong as far as I'm concerned. All that violence against ops, because it was different when I was younger. It weren't this level of violence. It wasn't, and on this, it wasn't happening this often and to this extent. You saw people that had butterfly knives and all them things, and yes, there were guns on the streets, but it was no way to this extent. People were trying to make money more than they were trying to kill each other, if you know what I'm saying. I know there was beefs and wars, but it wasn't a every day someone's getting done for this mad thing, if you know what I'm saying. Yo.
Same incident. Who knows yet? Now, just to put the whole ordeal into perspective, LD and Mental K should have known better. They're older. If you take a pistol into a club and use it while aiming at the dance floor where hundreds of people are in attendance, you really do not care who you strike, even if that person is an innocent bystander. So it's kind of hard to say freedom. Stay safe. Say